The biggest challenge in every business is communication. One of the biggest challenges in relationships that destroys relationships many times is communication. The gap between a decent parent-child relationship sometimes is communication, poor communication. I have a simple tool that I call one pager, 2 columns, needs and wants. I'm going to tell you about it. But first, a story. I've done leadership training. I've done a lot of business coaching. I led a big team of people. I've been through 2 marriages. I don't know if that makes me an expert or a failure, but anyway, I have 2 children, and my son's cracking up. And I had a stepdaughter for a little while. And the reality is, whether we're trying to improve relationships at home or relationships at work, we need to work on our communication. So lately I've been working with about 6 people, and in all those different categories, some kids and their parents, some relationships at home between couples and people at work. And so the needs and wants is this, that if you can clearly identify the things that you absolutely need out of this relationship, it helps to clarify expectations. And when you write it down, it solidifies it. And in some cases, I've done 3 of these in the last 4 days, where we have a little signature line at the bottom and the date that they actually agree. Yes, this is what is mutually agreed. One of the things I always try to suggest in business, don't leave any meeting, no matter what it is, even if it's a quick customer service interaction. Never leave a meeting without mutually agreed upon next steps. Pretty good idea. Specifically, when, where, what, how, all that detail. So, needs are non-negotiables, okay? I need you, if we were talking to a kid, I need you to show respectful behavior in the house. You know, I need you to go to school, at least most of the time. I need you, the fewer things the better, because the problem is if there's a big gap between where the person is and where you want them to be, or where you need them to be, more specifically, where you need them to be. If there's a big gap, well, if you give them too many high bars to try to jump over, they probably won't jump over any. But specifically, if you could say, I really need this. Yes, I want all this other stuff. I want you to clean your room. I want you to cut your hair. I want you to brush your teeth. I want you to take a shower. You know, I want you to get a job. I want all these things, but those are optional, because really I'm going to choose my battles. And I need this. In order for this relationship to continue, I need you to not yell at me. I need you to not call me names. I need you to tell me where you're going so I don't stay up all night worried sick. I need these very specific things, short list, fewer the better. And the whole idea behind the signature and the date is that you can update it and you can add it. You can add to it, or you can subtract, or you can modify somehow. But one of the big problems is when we don't have mutually agreed upon guidelines of what we're doing and not doing, or at least what the expectation is, and we might even need to talk about the consequences. When we don't have that, it's a crapshoot. One of the things I always say is that when I'm being reviewed or judged, or somebody's doing this kind of thing to me, I need you to do this. Well, first of all, they might not even know reality. You might say, I need you to stop doing drugs every day, all day long. Well, maybe I do and maybe I don't. Who knows? I need you to not come here when you're high. Well, hey, guess what? They're a career addict. They're high every day, all day long. So there's a reality and then there's perception. So we have to really choose our battles. So if there's things that you can't control and you can't influence to the point of knowing if it's happening or not happening, I'd let it go or put it on the want side. One of the things here is to try to leave as much emotion out of it. Stick to the facts. Don't be blaming. Maybe even don't use their name. You always do this, blah, blah, blah. Just stick to the facts. I need you to do this. Boom, boom, boom. With this specificity, on this date, to this measure, and this degree, and these wants, long term, I want you to stop using drugs. I want you to get your own place. I want you to spend more time with your kid. I want you to do something with your life. Well, not all of that language is going to be productive. But if you start small and you can build victories and you can help clarify your expectation, it goes a long way. One time I was being reviewed by my boss, and my boss said, well, I'm scoring you very low on this one area. And I'm just like, I don't know if I rolled my eyes or there was some sort of reaction that his comment caused from me in my body language, that he saw it. And he's like, what? What do you mean? What's the problem? And I said, well, you're scoring me already without even asking me what's up. So I'll accept the score. And he goes, no, what's going on? I said, well, you're wrong. You're scoring me low on something. I do it a lot. I do it more than anybody else around here. And he's like, oh, well, tell me about it. And I said, how about I show you? And I pulled up on my computer that there were all these copies of letters that I had sent to people in recognition and praise and reward and all this. And he was wrong. And I think he changed his score, but he didn't want to because that was his perception. And honestly, at work and at home, even if somebody's wrong, it's irrelevant because it's what you're going to do with it. I always wanted to know if my boss viewed me a particular way, even if he was wrong, so I could work to help change his mind and his opinion of me. Because even if he was wrong, it's the opinion he held. And it was up to me to make up that gap. So a lot of times we can judge and we can assume and we can blame, or we can try to stick to more of the basic facts. So we'll work on this more, but this is a big one. And it's basically clarifying expectations for people. And especially when you have a real problem, like a kid who's a drug addict, like a spouse who is not on your program with what you need. And when you're at work, whether you're an employee giving feedback to your boss what you want and need out of the work relationship, which is hard to do but extremely effective because most leaders appreciate that if you're honest and if you don't judge, blame, and assume your boss, because that's not good. But as a boss, to give that kind of feedback to people so they know exactly what you expect of them. Brutal honesty is better than anything because then you let the chips fall where they may. And then everybody knows what they're dealing with. And if you don't know what the expectations are, and if you don't know what the needs are, I need you to do this. I'm only going to choose 1 or 2 or 3. Need it. Then it's up to them. And it's not the heavy weight that you carry on your back, what they're doing or not, but it's on them. So I hope that helps. Message me if you have questions, because I've done this for 30 years. A lot of different situations, a lot of scenarios. If you need help, let me know.